All right, let's dive into a huge idea today, one that might just challenge everything you think you know about global power. We're going to dig into the work of Dr. Yogesh Malhotra to explore why the future might not belong to whoever builds the smartest AI, but to whoever holds the ultimate control switch. You see it in the headlines all the time, right? This global race for AI and quantum supremacy. Everyone says it's the contest that's going to define our century. But what if we're all looking in the wrong direction? What if the real prize, the actual source of power, is something else entirely? So let's start with how most of us see things right now. It's a classic tech arms race. The prevailing belief is that whoever builds the most brilliant AI or the most powerful quantum computer is basically going to run the future. And look, you can see the logic, right? It's pretty straightforward. Whoever has the smartest algorithms, the fastest computers, they win. Whether that's in finance, intelligence, or on the battlefield. It's a race to build a bigger, better digital brain. But this whole way of thinking is based on a really old model of conflict. This is where the whole picture starts to change, because our modern world turns that assumption on its head. We've stepped into what Dr. Malhotra calls the adversarial uncertainty era, and believe me, it changes all the rules of the game. So this is the new landscape. You can forget about just tanks and planes. The biggest threats today are often invisible. The goal isn't always to blow something up, it's to disrupt, and way more importantly, to capture the very systems that run our world. It's a war of infiltration, not annihilation. And these threats, well, they're not just missiles anymore. We're talking about incredibly sophisticated cyber attacks that can shut down entire countries, biological events that bring the world to a standstill, or even something as subtle as poisoning the data that our AIs learn from. These threats are everywhere, and you often don't see them until it's way too late. And this is the absolute key. Adversaries are now figuring out how to use our own complex systems against us. They're not just attacking our strengths, they're hijacking them. Just imagine a country's power grid or its military hardware being turned against itself without a single bomb being dropped. Now, to really get why this is such a massive shift, we've got to look at the old way of thinking about power, the one that's dominated military strategy for, well, forever. This is the Lethality Doctrine. It's simple, really. Might makes right. Your power is measured by how good you are at blowing up the other guy's stuff, their planes, their ships, their factories. It's a game of attrition. Whoever can break more things wins. But in this new world of invisible enemies and hyper-connected systems, that old doctrine is becoming obsolete, fast. A much smarter and, frankly, way more powerful idea is taking its place, the doctrine of control. And this is where it all clicks. The old way was about destruction. The new way is all about control. Think about it. Why would you try to shoot down an enemy missile when you can just take it over electronically? The focus shifts completely, away from physical hardware and towards networks and information. It all comes down to this simple but incredibly powerful idea. The arms race isn't about building a better robot to fight their robot anymore. It's about getting inside their robot's operating system and making it yours. It's a strategy of total mastery, not brute force destruction. So here's how that plays out. In the old days, you'd scramble everything to try and intercept that incoming missile, a super difficult, expensive, and frankly risky job. The new way? You use cyber and electronic warfare to hijack its command system and just send it right back where it came from. Boom. Game over. So here's the big takeaway. The whole race, we've been looking at the wrong finish line. AI and quantum supremacy. Those aren't the end goals. They're just incredibly powerful tools. The real objective, the ultimate prize, is achieving C4I-Cyber supremacy. That's supremacy over command, control, communications, computers, and intelligence. It's the ability to control any system anywhere. And look, this isn't just about military strategy. This idea gets to the very heart of what security and vulnerability mean for every single one of us in this deeply networked world. Think about it like this. Our most advanced, most expensive pieces of military hardware are at their core just flying networks of computers. And that means their biggest vulnerability isn't a missile, it's a line of malicious code. The weak point isn't the armor plating anymore, it's the software. Which leads to a pretty wild but logical conclusion. What good is a nuke if your enemy can get into the systems that command it? What if they can just turn it off? Or even worse, tell it where to go? In that world, the hacker with their hands on the keyboard is suddenly more powerful than the weapon itself. And that leaves us with one last big question. Forget the military stuff for a second. Think about our power grid, our financial markets, our transportation systems, even the smart speaker in your kitchen. In a world where absolutely everything is connected, the ultimate question isn't who has the most stuff, it's who truly holds command and control.